call the meeting to order. And since we're breaking new ground here today, all virtual except for myself and the two planners, I'm going to read the procedures that we're going to follow this evening so everybody's on the same page as we move forward. So, good evening. This is the regularly scheduled December 10th meeting of the Geneva Planning and Zoning Commission. I am Scott Stocking, Chairman of the Commission. Tonight, for the benefit of those in the audience, I'm joined by Development Director David DeGroot and City Planner Chayton True. In order to reduce background noise, please remind everyone and the commissioners to mute themselves except when you're addressing the commission or to the applicant. This meeting is being conducted by video conference utilizing the GoToWebinar virtual platform. With our use of electronic meeting platform, this meeting we expect there will be some technical difficulties, hopefully not many, as we move through our agenda. Please bear with us. The meeting will proceed without a physically present quorum and the Planning and Zoning Commission because of the disaster declaration related to COVID-19 and the public health concerns affecting the city of Geneva. With the exception of limited city staff and myself, all commissioners, applicants, and participating in tonight's meeting are in different locations in accordance with social distancing guidelines. Every individual desiring to listen or participate in the meeting has provided that opportunity through virtual participation information included in the various public notices and the agenda for this meeting. Tonight, the Commission will hear two concept reviews. The Commission will not formulate a recommendation on the contemplated developments. A concept review provides the Commission and the public with an opportunity to ask questions, provide informal review comments, and convey any concerns they may have. The public hearing would be required before the Commission in the future if the developers decide to submit a formal application for the contemplated developments. Notice of the public hearing would be mailed to all property owners within 500 feet of the property and would be published in a local newspaper no less than 15 days prior to the public hearing. At a future public hearing, all interested parties would be invited to present testimony for or against the petition and to cross-examine witnesses presenting testimony for or against the petition. At this point, I will describe the remote proceedings of the Planning and Zoning Commission for those of you who are not familiar with the process. First, the developer will provide an overview of the contemplated development and will present any supporting plans or exhibits. Following the presentation, the Commission members will have an opportunity to ask the developers questions. After the initial questions by the Commission members of the public will have an opportunity to ask questions, provide comments, and convey any concerns they may have. Public participants may provide comments either in writing or by speaking at the meeting. Each person will be provided equal amounts of time to comment. When it is time to comment, staff will read into the record any comments received in writing in advance of the meeting. Following the reading of any written comments, members of the virtual audience who wish to speak will be asked to raise their hands through the virtual meeting platform. Raised hand feature. Audience members will be called on, unmuted, and given an opportunity to comment. We ask that you state your name and address when it is your turn to speak. If you speak multiple times, please state your name each time. If your comment has already been made or your question has already been asked, it is not necessary to repeat it. After providing comment, each speaker will be muted once again. Please note that there will probably be a slight delay between becoming unmuted and being able to begin speaking. All comments will be recorded so that written minutes can be prepared for the meeting. Just a reminder that all speakers are asked to present their comments in a respectful and courteous manner. If inappropriate language or comments are expressed during this meeting, the speaker will be muted and that speaker's participation ended. Following public comments, the developer will have an opportunity to answer questions and respond to any comments made from members of the public. The Commission will then provide the applicant with informal review comments and convey any concerns they may have. So that's the procedure that we're going to follow this evening. Celeste, will you please call the roll?
And do that. Evans. Hello?
Here.
Okay. Alleman? Here. Mead,
Here.
Metaskill,
Here.
Rittenhouse. Okay. A voice would be probably good.
John, I know you're with us.
Here.
Thank you.
I give you a thumbs up.
I know, but for the audio purpose. Slivka
Here.
and Chairman Stocking.
Here.
You have a quorum.
All right, very good. We will proceed. So the first item on our agenda is concept review. It's a concept review at Kirk and Illinois 38 gas station, conceptual review of a gas station and car wash. The concept will require amendment to the East Guideway Plan Unit Development, PUD. The location is the southeast corner of Kirk Road and Illinois Route 38. The applicant is LFI Real Estate, and we'll hear from the applicant at this time.
So, David, you've been elevated
Excuse me,
to a
Chairman?
presenter?
Yes.
This is Celeste. Were you going to do the approval of minutes and the,
Oh, I skipped over that part. Thank you.
yeah, you kind of,
Need to do
Thank you,
that
welcome.
before I wanted to get right into it. So, sorry. Okay, next time on the agenda is approval of this evening's agenda. But your motion.
Move to approve. Move to approve.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
I'm sorry, again, it's Celeste. When you do a move, you're gonna have to say your name. So like, for instance, Holloman moves and then Evans seconds, so I know. Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
I think
So who made the motion? Who seconded the?
last John Mead. Maybe not.
Okay, continue.
All right. Next item on the agenda is approval of minutes of the October 22nd, 2020 meeting.
Move to approve Evans.
Second. Slivka.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, hearing none. All right, now we can move on to the concept review. So again, it's Kirk and Illinois 38, Route 38 gas station, conceptual review of a gas station and car wash. Concept will require amendment to the East Guideway Plan Unit Development. The location of development is the southeast corner of Kirk Road and Illinois Route 38, and the applicant is RFI Real Estate.
Okay, thank you. I clicked to share my screen. Are you able to see my presentation?
We can.
Yes.
Are you able to see my presentation?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So then I'll put it in slideshow mode here. Okay, great. Well, good evening. We're here to present a conceptual review of a proposed gas and wash at the southeast corner of State Street, Route 38, and Kirk Road. I'm representing the developer, which is LFI Development. Our actual owner is Kirk 38 LLC. And we are here with the engineer for gas and wash, Mr. Richard Vane, who is a civil engineer with M. Gingrich, Geary's and Associates. That is our development team this evening. But before I get into the actual development, I'd like to discuss the neighborhood and a little bit of context within the greater area. The property in question is just a little over 4 acres, zoned B1. It's vacant right now. The comprehensive plan designates it as Kirk Road Commercial, and the Southeast Sub-Area Plan calls for mixed use. To the north, we have B1 zoning, south B1 zoning as well in the county. East is B1, and west is also B1. Most of those are, the east and west at least, are undeveloped. To the north, we have some commercial, and to the south, there's some commercial as well. and the designations are as they're noted on the table before you. The comprehensive plan, which the city adopted in 2003, designated this particular site as commercial, and it's part of the East State Street functional sub-area. It calls for Kirk Road Commercial, and this is an excerpt directly from your comprehensive plan, which says, the Kirk Road Commercial area should support automobile-oriented commercial uses that also function as the eastern gateway into the East State Street corridor and the city of Geneva. The uses around the intersection of Kirk Road and East State Street should generally include retail, commercial service, and limited office uses. The city should work with the county and state roadway authorities in planning and permitting reasonable/functional areas. Another area another document that the city adopted in 2012, which evaluated and made long-term plans for on our location, is the Southeast Sub-Area Plan. And within that plan, we are the north area. Gas and Wash, as I mentioned, the parcel is a little over 4 acres. It's part of parcel 1, as you see here at the intersection of Kirk and 38. That parcel is 10.3 acres, so we are a portion of that parcel. Parcels 1 and 3, parcel 3 is to the east of us. Our parcels straddle Old Kirk Road and together include about 40 acres designated for mixed use. And the plan anticipates that the uses would be retail, entertainment, and office uses. And it also includes language that states that the city remains flexible on use. The request that we are here making this evening, at least on a conceptual basis, is to amend the East Gateway PUD, which was adopted by the city in 2004. Just to orient you, the Gas and Wash would be located on parcels D and E, which again are shown at the southeast corner of Kirk and Route 38. On parcel D, the East Gateway PUD does not currently allow a gas station. A car wash is permitted if a gas station is on parcel E. Parcel E within that PUD does allow both a gas station and an associated car wash. Another area that we diverge from the 2004 plan is that there is a road that was depicted to the south of, on the southern portion of the site, I should say, and that's not a road that we are proposing at this time. As you can see on this plan, Old Kirk Road is realigned to the east, and it's anticipated that that intersection would be signalized. Moving on to the site plan and the specifics of our development. The site is just a hair over 4 acres. We're proposing a 4,800 square foot convenience store. Within that convenience store, there would be at least one restaurant with a brand to be determined. In other locations, it's been Dunkin' Donuts, Great American Bagel, barbecue restaurant, Mexican restaurant, etc. It's not been determined exactly what that will be just yet, but those details will be forthcoming shortly. There are 36 parking spaces. There are 12 fueling stations, not including those parking spaces. We have 3 diesel truck fueling stations, a full service tunnel car wash, along with 16 self-service vacuum spaces, which are adjacent to the car wash. And additionally, although it's not depicted on this plan, we're anticipating working with the city and with the Kane County Highway Department to implement a right-in, right-out on Kirk Road. And then moving on to an example of a gas and wash within the greater Chicagoland area in Mokina, Illinois. which is on LaGrange Road in the heart of Mokina, in their commercial corridor. This is the canopy with the fueling stations underneath it, with architectural features on the roof, as well as brick-clad columns and tasteful signage indicating both the gas and wash itself, as well as the in-store providers for restaurants and so forth. This is the south side of the building, which indicates the drive-through for Great American Bagel, and the extended canopy, which allows protection for customers from weather as they would walk from their vehicles into the store itself and the restaurants. Another angle from that same side looking to the north of the fuel stations. This is the rear of the facility, where you can see the canopy for the drive-through. It's an all brick four-sided building, as well as the drive-through on that south side. And the main entry for this site is a signalized intersection with LaGrange Road, where you can see the signal ahead. This is the north side of the building. The immediate driveway is the entry for the drive-through, and the adjacent lanes are the entries and pay stations for the car wash, where you would select the type of wash you want and then proceed through the queue to the tunnel. The car wash itself, again, peaked roofs, all masonry, four-sided building with signage identifying, and the vacuum stations, which would be on the south side of that building. Here's a closer view of the south side of the building with you're almost standing in the entry lane for the drive-through and looking at the vacuum stations. And then the sign, which indicates Big Apple Bagel, Hog Wild, which is the in-store barbecue shop, and this particular location offers video gaming, which is not something that is allowed in the city of Geneva, so that would not be something that we. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Vane, and if he has any specific comments on technical nature of the development as well as the circulation, then he can address those at this time.
Hello, this is Richard Vane. Can you hear me?
Yes.
You good? Okay, good. So you can see here at the main store is on the west side of the property. The car wash is on the east side. The gasoline fueling is north of the building. There'll be diesel fueling to the south of the building. We keep the car traffic and the truck traffic separate. Primarily, our diesel pumps are used for local package trucks and landscape facilities. There's almost no off-road truckers that usually come into these kind of facilities. So it's really for more of your local trucks to use the truck fueling. As David mentioned, we will be looking for a right-in, right-out on Kirk Road to make it a more easily accessible for all vehicles in every direction. Typically, what you find with our stations is that most of the traffic is already on those highways because we're looking for a location that has high traffic volume. As you well know, this is a high traffic intersection. So we don't generate a lot of traffic that's new. We primarily pull the traffic that's already there into our stations. So I don't know if there's a lot else to say. I mean, we do great jobs in a number of communities, and I think we offer kind of a unique product because we include the store, the service station, and the car wash, and all kind of blend together and work for a really great site. I think that's it, David, unless was there something else you wanted me to mention? I'm done.
David, do you have anything further you want to say at this point?
Oh, he's
He's muted, I think.
David, your mic is muted.
I was muted, I apologize. No, I don't have anything further to add, but we'd be happy to answer any questions that the commission may have.
All right, very good. So, commissioners. Any questions to the applicant? Yes, John Mead.
I have a couple. You mentioned, well, the original design for this had the road to the south of the subject, which provided a right-in, right-out onto Kirk Road. You mentioned working with the county on a prospective right-in, right-out on Kirk. First of all, where would that be on your site plan? I don't know if you can use a mouse to show us, because it looks like the stormwater part of the elbow down at the bottom is not where it would come in, but where would you put that? Accessing
So in all, can you see my mouse here, my pointer?
Yep.
Okay, so it's in all likelihood somewhere in this area. And
Okay.
the reason being is that there's a substantial grade drop off
Right.
as you travel south on Kirk. So there really wouldn't be an opportunity to do that. And as we get down here and we have the segregated diesel fueling stations, we wouldn't want to mix that traffic because
Right.
we've made an effort to segregate it.
All right. When I saw there was diesel fuel, my second question is when I saw there was 3 diesel fueling stations, pumps down there, I was curious where those trucks would park if they were going to go into the restaurant. But it sounds like you don't anticipate a lot of longer, 18-wheel trucks. It's mostly going to be short-wheeled vehicles that could park and get a sandwich if they wanted, I suppose, right?
It's conceivable that, there's 2 ways that gets addressed. One, this isn't a traditional truck stop as we understand them. And the diesel, while it's an important component of the business, it's not as busy of a component of the business as the gas fueling stations. So if someone was to come in, fuel up for diesel, run in the
Right.
store and get what they need, they wouldn't be causing a lengthy queue of others waiting to fuel.
Okay, thank you. Last question, I think, might be for staff. The road that's shown on the East Gateway drawing that was to the south of the subject that connects with Old Kirk Road, was it anticipated that road or access would benefit both ingress and egress for the parcels to the east, parcel F? And if that's not going to be built, what does that do to anticipated traffic patterns or flow or conflict going forward if there's not going to be a road there? And then also questioning why was this? Does anybody recall why the gas station was not allowed on parcel D but was on parcel E? It just seems strange that it was highlighted that it was not allowed for some reason. That's it for me.
Staff want to comment on the questions?
You want me to?
Yeah.
So, John, regarding your question about the road that's to the south of parcel E and parcel D that connects Kirk Road to Old Kirk Road, it could have been placed there just because there are a lot of options for commercial development on those 2 parcels, and just depending on the use, it could generate different amounts of traffic, and so that could have been thought to have had a beneficial impact for the development just based on what type of traffic the uses would generate. So I think they just maybe initially in the plan they wanted to make sure that all options were available depending on the use. That was for your first question.
Yeah, one point on that, Jayden, is if you eliminate that road and the right-in coming from northbound traffic on Kirk, if it's gone and it's not able to access over to Old Kirk, you then put all of that traffic to get to parcel F through the intersection. So instead of offloading it before the intersection and getting it over to F coming from the south, all that traffic, truck traffic primarily, probably has to then go through the intersection and turn right. Not that it can't handle it, but it just doesn't give them the option of avoiding a major intersection and a light when they could have access to the south of the subject parcels.
That's correct. And then I believe you had a second question.
I was just curious, what was the thinking? Does anybody know? I don't know if anybody's been around long enough. Why was parcel D initially not designated as having an allowable use of a gas station when parcel E was? It just seems strange that a hard corner, which is typically where you'd want to see a gas station, was not allowed in this particular designation or uses.
Hi, John, it's David. It's not clear in reviewing the PUD ordinance, but what is clear is there seemed to be a desire to limit the amount of auto-oriented uses within the PUD. And I think there might have been a desire to make sure we didn't have a gas station on every corner of this intersection. And that's why it was allowed off of the corner on parcel E, but not on parcel D.
Okay.
David, I got a
Thank you.
follow-up question on that. The parcel F, this is gonna date me. That when I first came on the commission, there was a massive development proposed for parcel F. I assume that is timed out.
David, would you mind advancing the slide to the Gateway PUD layout?
Because there was a massive, I think it was like my first or second meeting with the planning commission, and there was just an enormous development proposed at parcel F on this PUD, and I'm pretty certain it's timed out and it's not going to happen.
It has timed out. It was approved and entitled for a mixed-use development. I think it was around 30,000 square feet of commercial and office space.
Yeah.
And then there was 5 condo buildings.
Yeah, it was really large.
I think it was almost 200 units.
Yeah, it was sizable. It was like 4 or 5 stories.
And then the timing was unfortunate for that because it was shortly before the 2008, 2009.
Okay, that's, to my knowledge, that's the only thing that's been proposed in this PUD site since I've been on the commission, so. Any other questions from the commissioners?
Yeah, I have a question. This is John. Similar to John Mead, John actually had the same 2 points that I was going to question about. David, can you tell us, looking at this drawing right here, the proposed, no, go back one, please. The same one that you had up. Yeah. What we're talking about is you guys are not proposing building the road connecting Kirk to Old Kirk on the south side of the property. Correct?
That's correct.
That's correct.
Yep.
Okay. So the only way, I think John mentioned this, the only way for diesel to get into the back on the south side of the parcel D to get fueled up would be to come off of 38 down the road that separates parcel D and F, go through, fill up, go back up, and exit. Is that correct?
So that they would come in off of the realigned Kirk Road, and then
Show with your mouse.
So they would come in off of Kirk Road, and then enter the site on the south end. And now let me go to the site plan itself. So Kirk Road is over here. They enter from Kirk, circulate around this island, fuel, and then leave in the same manner in which they arrived.
Okay, so that's Old Kirk Road, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. Is there a reason why you guys are not proposing building the South Road? I mean, I understand the cost factor, but
Well, cost is one item, and two, it substantially reduces the amount of developable area on the site. And then third, I'm not sure it's technically feasible. I'm not an engineer, but given the grade difference between Kirk Road and the existing grade, it would be very difficult to get a road in there regardless.
Okay. Yeah, you answered my question about the D and the EY, what the purpose was. I think, just to go on the record, I'm concerned about the amount of traffic that you're funneling down Old Kirk Road in and out without providing some kind of access from Kirk Road to get back there also. That's it.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
So I'm curious, if you don't get the access off of Kirk Road, are you still interested in proceeding with this, or is that Kirk Road right in, right out critical to your project?
It's critical to the project.
Okay, so if there was that right in, right out off Kirk, that would take some of that traffic off before it got to that intersection. They wouldn't necessarily have to go all the way up to 38 and turn right and come down on our Old Kirk Road.
Well,
If
again, the grade and topography in that area is a challenge. So I'm not certain that the road is really even feasible.
I'm not talking about the road, I'm just talking about the right in, right out that you want to have. Didn't you say you wanted a right in, right out off of Kirk Road if possible?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that traffic will come directly to the site without going through the intersection.
So that would relieve some of that concern about the excess traffic on Old Kirk Road. I have a general question to the commission, to staff. There must have been, as you suggested, David, some concern about having gas stations on four corners or too much auto-related businesses in this area. There are the two gas stations on two corners. There is additional gas further west on 38, not very far west. Is there another realistic use of this property that is likely? I don't want to see a parcel sit, not being used at all if is a viable use for it, but is there something other than a gas station that this should be held for?
Well, our company has owned the property for a number of years and has marketed it. And really the primary interest that we've received over time has been for gas. And we've worked with Gas and Wash in other locations, and we like what they do. We think that they're more than a gas station, given what they're doing in the convenience store and the quality of the car wash. So we believe that this is the highest and best use for the corner. And we also think that we're offering something that that the public isn't necessarily getting at some of the other locations.
Does staff have any comments on alternative uses for this site?
Nothing to add really the PUD allows for a variety of uses on these sites, and as David noted, we haven't seen interest for much else other than auto-oriented uses on this corner.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else on the commission?
David, yeah, David, can you clarify for me, to Mim's point, the right in, right out, if you're coming up north on Kirk Road, you had shared with us with your mouse the approximate entry.
Yes.
Can you do that again? Okay.
Sure. It's somewhere in here. What the goal is going to be is to not put it here, because we don't want people coming in and now they have to figure out, do I go this way? Do I go that way?
Yeah.
So, and this will all be kind of adjudicated through working with the city and with the county to figure out where it works from a grading standpoint, as well as where it works best so that the intersection isn't impacted.
So my question is, if you could draw with your mouse, if a short bed truck that's a diesel wants to pull in, and you're right in, right out, show me on your map where they would go to get their diesel fuel.
Okay, so they would do, if it's here, they pull in off of Kirk, go over here, and then come through here. And there may be even some diesel options because, you know, a lot of cars and pickup trucks are operated by diesel. Or if it's up here, then they would come over here and then circulate back here.
Yep.
And then when they leave, then if they want to continue going north, that's what they do, or they would be able to leave through here or through the old Kirk driveway.
Got it. Thank you.
Anyone else on the commission want to comment? Yes, John Mead.
Just back to the parcel F again, and I know that that's a large parcel. There's been some lateral work done there as far as sewage and everything, water treatment, storm systems and stuff. Someday we want to see that developed. I have some concern, and I think the applicant should give some thought to how folks could access that parcel from Kirk Road without going onto 38. I'm not saying that that's your problem to solve. I'm just saying that I do think there's some benefit to the overall development if traffic coming north on Kirk can go on that south road, that originally designated south road, and get over to parcel F. I realize what it does to your site plan. I just would ask that you give some more thought to it. Or if it wasn't on your parcel, I don't know who owns the other parcels or if there's even enough room for that to be done along the southern border of your site. I don't know. And I recognize there's a grade differential. Part of that could end up needing to be a bridge, or there could be a lot of back or fill work that needs to be done. The road can be built. It just might be an expensive option, but it might be attractive to ultimately attract an end user for parcel. So I just send you away with that to give that some thought.
Okay, will do. Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak on the commission? Yes, Rebecca. Rebecca, are you?
I think you may be muted.
You are muted.
Okay.
There you
Sorry,
are.
it wasn't clicking. I just had a question. I feel like I probably know the answer to this, but you're not interested in putting the car wash in parcel D, right? I mean, that's a non-starter to keep.
Yeah, that's correct. There's a couple challenges for us to do that. If we move the car wash over here, then it's going to obscure the gas station and the convenience store. And, both are really important to us. But if people can't see the convenience store and the restaurant and the gas pumps, then that would put us at a significant disadvantage.
Okay. Okay, that's it.
Okay. Anyone else? Yes, Ed.
Just a quick question. I'm not sure this might be a staff question, but if you could just, David, if you could just go forward one slide back to kind of the whole, the PUD. There we go. I want to say when I was looking closer on the Old Kirk Road and 38 intersection, there says proposed signal. Is that part of the plan, is to signalize that intersection?
Yes.
It is?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Anyone else? All right. Is there anyone on the public wishing to speak on this item? Yes, John.
If there's anyone attending remotely that would like to speak from the public, we need you to use the raise your hand feature. So we'll give you a minute to raise your hand, and then we will announce your name and unmute you so you can speak. Seconds or so.
Yeah, we'll give some time on that, because again, it's all virtual, so.
I do not see any hands raised, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Okay, I don't hear any public comments. So, David, is there anything you want to say at this point in terms of summarizing your proposal?
I just want to thank the commission for your time, providing your comments. These are helpful. These conceptual meetings are always a boon to the developer, so we can understand what your concerns are, go work on them, and then bring you back a plan that you'll feel comfortable voting for. So thank you very much for your time.
All right, thank you.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate you presenting it.
Okay, have a great evening.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so we're going to switch over to the second conceptual review that we have on our agenda. This one is for the crossings at Geneva. It's a conceptual review of a 52-unit townhome development. The concept would require an amendment to the Fisher Farms Plan Unit Development. The location is at 2684 Stone Circle, and the applicant is D.R. Horton.
Take just a moment. Danielle, I will be making you a presenter here, so you could share your screen. And then you'll need to unmute yourself.
And Peter's actually going to start with some opening remarks.
Okay, we see Peter.
Plan Commissioners, good evening. My name is Peter Bezos. I'm an attorney at Elgin. I've had the pleasure of representing D.R. Horton on a number of projects. I'm here this evening with, as you mentioned, David, Danielle Ash of Horton, as well as Bruce Mellon, I believe is with us. We're here for a concept review on Horton's proposal to complete the development of the Fisher Farms PUD that was initially approved, and I'm not sure of the math, either in 1996 or in the early 2000s. That PUD was approved as a 6-lot development containing 5 senior housing buildings with 250 senior for sale condominium units. Today, now some, again, depending on the math, some 15 to 20 years later, only 3 of those condominium buildings have been built, and there are only 90 such senior units up and completed. I'm told that only recently the last condo unit has sold, so it has taken over 15 or more years to absorb only 90 of the original 250 units. To us, that means that there's the market is not demanding this product at this location. And it seems that the city council contemplated the possibility that the PUD may not match market demand because, as the staff has noted in its report to you, it was provided that if all the buildings weren't up and built by a certain date, which is long gone by, that a secondary product of up to 79 townhomes could be built. I want to note that Horton is here tonight proposing to build townhomes, but only 52. And I guess the reason that we're here is that even though the ordinance said what I just kind of quoted the staff as saying, apparently the wording isn't crystal clear as to whether the city council meant that if only some of the senior condos were built and not the rest, that townhomes could be built next to them. So apparently the city staff feels that there's an ambiguity that needs to be resolved. And the best way to do it is to go through an amendment to the PUD. Again, this was contemplated, the mixed use, the other townhouses, townhouses as a secondary product. The zoning is R7, which is appropriate for this use, and your comprehensive plan is also appropriate for this type of use. So with that as a background, let me turn it over to Danielle, and she can show you the specific concept plan that Horton has for you tonight.
Thank you, Peter. So yes, let me introduce myself. My name is Danielle Dash, and I'm a land acquisitioner for D.R. Horton. and I am here this evening to present to you a concept plan for the remaining vacant lots at the crossings at Geneva subdivision. Okay, so before we get started, I just want to tell you a little bit about D.R. Horton. The company was founded in 1978, and we're headquartered in Arlington, Texas. And we've been the largest home builder by volume in the United States since 2002. We have operations in 88 markets in 29 different states. And even though Horton is a large national builder, we're very connected in Chicago. We've been building here for over 50 years, and we currently have over 25 active communities. Some of the projects that are near the city of Geneva would be our Tall Hoops community in Elgin. We're also building a very large master plan community in Pingree Grove called Cambridge Lakes. And we just recently opened a new project in North Aurora called Lincoln Valley, which is just south of Geneva. So this slide is just to give us an idea of where the site is located. You can see the red star is near the located parcel. So we are basically contiguous to the Delmore Hospital. You can see the facility there. Just west of the site is the Heartland Elementary School. And just north is the Geneva Commons Shopping Center located off of Randall Road. This project was entitled, as Peter said, as part of the Fisher Farms PUD many years ago. So zooming in, here's a closer aerial view of the site. Overall, it's roughly 9 acres. You can see the existing condo buildings, the C-shaped building in the middle of Stone Circle, and then one freestanding building just south. And with the existing buildings that are up, there are 90 condo units. And then you can see around the perimeter of Stone Circle, the remaining vacant lots. And as Peter said, the vacant lots were intended in total for 222 units. So these vacant lots would accommodate an additional 132 units. And what we're proposing this evening is a townhome community with 52 homes. And you can see we have 11 townhome buildings, and they surround the perimeter road, Stone Circle. The buildings each share a motor court. So in the back of the buildings is how you access your garage. And then the front of the buildings face each other, so you create like an open space shared courtyard. Again, the 52 homes that we're proposing is 80 less than what would be built if the condos were completed. And the townhomes we're proposing also would have their own association. They would not be part of the existing condominium association. So not only would they have their own association, but they would also have their own set of CC&Rs. So those documents would dictate what these residents can and can't do. So for example, it would require the residents to keep their garbage cans in their garage. It would limit these residents from having playground equipment in their yards or putting up basketball hoops. So really what the CC&Rs do is they create uniformity, which is very much like what the condo buildings have in regards to keeping your exterior uniform and maintained. And it is not intended that the townhomes would share any of the condominium amenities. So they would not have access to the clubhouse in the existing condo building. They would not have access to the courtyard that's in between that C-shaped building there. So again, the townhomes would have their own association on their own property. However, they would be participating in the cost to maintain the private infrastructure as part of the condominium association. So they would participate to maintain Stone Circle, whether maintenance, snow removal, the cost to run the street lights. So again, even landscaping, maintenance of maybe the main entrance area. So we're fully aware that being good neighbors, we would have to again, help the condo association and participate in the cost to maintain their existing infrastructure. So I'm going to talk just quickly about the product we're proposing to build. The townhomes would range from 1,500 to 1,700 square feet. They would be 2 and 3 bedrooms. They'd have options for 2 to 2.5 baths. And all of the units would have a standard 2-car garage. And just like, again, the condo units, this would be a maintenance-free community. So there would be a professional management company that would be hired to maintain the site. They would handle all of the landscaping maintenance. They would handle all of the snow removal, and they would also handle all of the exterior building maintenance. So again, the quality of the community would match the existing condominium association in regards to overall maintenance. We would also expect these townhomes to sell in the low 300s. Just wanted to share also here a picture of an existing townhome building that we built in Elgin. This is at our Tall Oaks community. Again, this is nearby in Elgin. This project has 117 homes, and we actually are just about 50% sold out here. So we do believe that what we're proposing this evening is an attractive product. The land plan blends very well with the existing condominium buildings. It's absolutely less dense than what was proposed here, which translates to less people, less traffic, less stress on the existing amenities in the condo building. And really, it's a viable opportunity to see a vacant piece of property developed. I think we've seen, knowing this parcel has not been developed, that more senior units may not be what the market is calling for. And we know that the Seaboard, this townhome product, is highly desirable. It's a fantastic product for Horton. Our customers love it. And it's, again, really a great opportunity for us to build in this incomplete subdivision. So with that, I would say we could open it up to questions and comments.
All right, thank you very much. Any comments?
And I'm going, trying to get my technology here, but I guess I can leave the site plan.
Yes, please leave the
for now,
exhibits on. Yeah, leaving exhibits on would be a good idea. Thank you.
Okay.
Any comments from the commissioners?
Can the chairman or somebody tell me how you raise your hand before I don't know what you click.
Sure.
Sure.
Is it this little button?
Yeah, well, Peter and Danielle, as you guys are presenters, so you do not need to raise your hands to speak. Just give us a wave at the camera and we'll recognize you.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so, that's clear. So, commissioners, any questions? Yes, ma'am.
I had a question about outdoor space. It looks like, well, maybe, is there any private outdoor space for any of the units or any significant communal outdoor space? You mentioned no play equipment or basketball hoops or that sort of thing were allowed for individual units. Is there any place that any kind of active recreation can occur within this community?
So
Or an outdoor socializing party? I don't see patios or anything.
So the residents will have balconies in the rear of the unit that they can enjoy as outdoor space. But again, the shared courtyard in between the buildings gives people an outdoor space to gather. So as far as building an amenity on site, that's not currently planned. I don't know that clearly there is, within walking distance of the site, there are options for residents to enjoy outdoor spaces as well.
I just wonder, who is your target audience? This doesn't look like something that would appeal to single parents with kids or young families. Like, who are you marketing this toward? You said you've had good success with this product. Who is your buyer?
Right. So I would say that most of our buyers, their average age is just under 40. Most of our buyers have few kids, maybe zero, few or none kids. Most of our buyers are first-time buyers. Actually, half of them are first-time buyers. So I would expect with this site and its location to be attractive to young professionals, maybe those who may work at the Delnor Hospital, staff or doctors, nurses, staff, again, with its close proximity to the hospital. But, the project really, the product doesn't discriminate. It is, again, very popular for all buyers.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Just to follow up on Nim's comment, so that they wouldn't be allowed to, under the structure that you have for this, would not be allowed to use any of the common spaces for the existing condominiums or anything like that?
Correct. So the courtyard area that's in that C-shaped building, or the pavilion located off of Stone Circle would not be an amenity that would be open to our townhome buyers.
Okay. Yes, Rebecca.
Is the center area, is that gated off? Is there something that would keep people from going into that, those common areas?
It's not gated. If we felt that maybe signage would be appropriate, we'd certainly be open to doing that. Again, a lot of our buyers too, being, they're first-time buyers, they're young professionals, they're at work during the day, coming home at night to, spend time with their family. I wouldn't say that our buyers are necessarily looking to congregate or have a strong desire to utilize those amenities. But again, if we felt that there was an issue with the townhome residents loitering, on that property, we'd be glad to post some signs. We could also put in our contract with our buyers that the condo amenities would be off limits, so that when they purchase the property, they would be fully aware of what amenities, what open spaces would be included with their home.
John Rittenhouse, I think you're muted, please, if you want to speak.
Yep.
There you go.
Sorry, Danielle, to that point, whose job is it then to enforce it? It would be the existing condominiums, correct?
Well, again, our association would be professionally managed. So we could use, the management company can certainly convey to the residents, if there are issues. So we would certainly participate in the process to make sure our residents were adhering to the rules.
Okay. John Mead.
Just to follow up on that a little bit, I understand the spirit of cooperation, but at some point, D.R. Horton is gone, and it's two completely different uses of this parcel. It might be hard to police, and the onus would probably fall on the existing condominiums to have some level of recourse or something to enforce folks from using their common areas or using the gazebo. You're walking your dog, you're sitting down to have a chat with a friend. It just could be a challenge. I'm not saying it's going to prohibit a development of this parcel into an alternate use beyond senior living. It's just, I think it'd be very difficult to police over time, especially once the developer is gone. So,
and what I'd like to add too is, the people who will be living in these homes will be, residents of the city of Geneva.
Right.
And we find that the blend of of the different products, having neighbors to say hello to in the morning or see them walking their dogs down the street isn't necessarily a bad thing. We would, again, think that we would attract some very nice residents to the city of Geneva.
And I don't doubt that. I walk this property every day with my dog, so I know it well. I know the traffic patterns in and out of the subject. We had some public comment that was circulated before the meeting from some residents that dealt with some concerns over mixing the traffic between the two different uses. And I think there's some merit there and something that you guys should think about. If it became an issue, safety or even getting access, it sounded like there might have to be some cooperation from the existing condos in order for your project to be able to ultimately use Stone Circle Drive. If that was prohibited or couldn't be worked out, has there been any thought towards what the parcel to the north that sits vacant and has a for sale sign on it? Is that a potential solution for you to develop either that and this, or just gaining access to this if Stone Circle becomes not realistic?
That's a great question, John. So I've actually been in touch with the Delnor Northwestern Medical Group in regards to the property to the north, because that's who owns that parcel.
Okay.
They have run it past their senior leadership group. At this time, they're not interested in selling the parcel because we certainly would like to expand our footprint here. We love what the city has to offer. We love the location. There's a lot of great things about this area. So unfortunately, the site is not available for sale. They did say that if I submitted a request to potentially use that site for a construction access, that they would take it under consideration. Whether they would approve that or not, I don't know. But if the condo association does not want to allow access from Stone Circle, then this project would not be viable.
All right.
This is Peter, Horton's lawyer. Just let me observe that Stone Circle is a private subdivision street that was approved by Geneva as part of this 6-lot subdivision. So I'm quite certain that the street itself is available for anyone who owns a lot and makes lawful use out of it. So if you and ultimately the city council approve Horton's proposal, Horton would have a right to use it. That said, as Danielle mentioned, there will be a cost-sharing agreement between the two associations, the Senior Condo Association and the Townhome Association. And Mr. Mead, while I guess I've not seen a provision like this, there's nothing that would prevent a mechanism to be written into that cost-sharing agreement as to somehow resolving repeated recurring uses of the condo, of the senior amenities by the townhome residents, whether it's reporting, whether it's a fine. I mean,
Right.
I don't know how far we want to go on this, but there is a mechanism that could be developed.
Right. Again, it would be our hope that we would have a solid working relationship with the condo association. So we would definitely want to have an amicable relationship with them. Again, we look at this as a win-win. It provides really, again, a use on this site that blends well. It will bring additional revenue to the condo association to help them maintain the infrastructure that they're currently taking care of. Because with nothing built there, they don't have any other units, sharing the cost for the maintenance. So there definitely is upside for the condominium association, especially being that we're talking like the proposed plan that we are presenting is 80 less units than, again, what would be, could potentially be put here.
Right.
So that translates to a huge reduction in traffic. And I also believe, and David, correct me if I'm wrong, but the other approved use here would be multifamily. And I believe if I'm correct, that could be a rental product. Correct, David?
That's correct. We do not regulate if it's by owner or for rent.
Right, so there could be, 100 rental units here as compared to our, 50-some for sale townhomes, clearly in a price point that is, well-qualified buyers certainly to be moving into this location. So again, I think this is a great opportunity to complete a community that's been, obviously not being able to be completed in today's market.
Rebecca, you had a question?
Actually, my question was to piggyback on the comment about renters. Will the buyers be able to, will there be a clause prohibiting them from renting out their property if they want to,
Right. We normally don't include that clause in our CC&Rs. Again, at the price point that these homes are going to be sold at, we normally, it restricts those buyers, but we normally do not restrict that.
so they could rent their property out or, yeah.
They could.
Okay. And then I had one more question too. And maybe I'm just not seeing it on this map. Where is I see the drive. Where is the entry into the development? And
I
maybe
cannot. Right. So
Okay.
the entrance is off of Fisher Drive. You see Stone Circle there.
Mhm.
So that would be the entrance to the community at where
Alright.
it currently exists.
I got it. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Rittenhouse, did you wish to speak?
Thank you. This is to staff. In reading this information, why is there such ambiguity? This is more of like a question of your thoughts. Why is there such ambiguity of and/or could be built? Can you help me understand that?
Sure. I think there's two components. You have the preliminary PUD that was established for the entire Fisher Farms development. And there were 9 residential neighborhoods that were planned with that preliminary PUD. And this neighborhood is referred to as Neighborhood 9, and it was identified for R7 zoning, multifamily, up to 79 units was identified as the secondary use. The primary use was identified as the senior housing up to 250 units. So as the Fisher Farms PUD built out, each one of those neighborhoods came through with a final plat of subdivision. And the final plat of subdivision and final plat of PUD. And that's what we have here was for 222 senior citizen senior living, excuse me. So we don't have that either or situation. We don't have the situation where senior housing wasn't developed and now it can go to up to 79 multifamily units. We have a partially developed product with final PUD approval and the remainder of the property remaining undeveloped. So we would definitely need to amend the final PUD to plan to have an alternative site plan. And I don't think it's clear in the preliminary PUD. I think it contemplated an either or situation and not kind of this midpoint.
So, David, do the residents have an argument that they were sold on the fact that they would not be surrounded by single-family homes or townhomes?
I'm sorry, do they have an argument regarding access?
Yeah, so Chayton sent out the letters today, this afternoon, which I went through, and it seemed like an overwhelming obviously everybody in the senior development is concerned about this development. And I thought I read there was some kind of concern about, we were sold on the fact that, you know, we're moving into a senior development and that the surrounding areas could not be anything but senior development. Were they sold a bill of goods by the senior developing?
No, I mean, that is the final PUD approval that is in place now. That is what the property is entitled for now, and that's why an amendment would be necessary. Regarding access to Stone Circle is a private road, so it is not a public right-of-way, so they would need some cooperation to gain access from Stone Circle. And I think Ms. Dash alluded to that as well.
Got it.
Any other comments from the commission? Yes, ma'am.
First, I had a question. What is the price range for the condos? Does anybody know that?
I do. So there have been 3 units sold within the last year. Those units were selling around average $225, and those units were on the market an average over 7 months. And there's currently 1 unit for sale. It's listed at $231,900, and it's already been on the market for over 6 months.
And are those units rentable? Can the owners rent out those units if they want?
I don't know the answer to that question.
Okay. And if the rest of this property, could it be developed? What would be the procedure for developing some other kind of senior targeted product other than these condos, which don't seem to be a very popular product? I mean, we've had a lot of interest from developers over the last half dozen years for other kinds of products that are aimed towards empty nesters or seniors that are smaller single-story homes or townhomes that seem to have done well. Is there another product that would be a better fit with the senior condos that are already on the site? Or could you even build your product with more of a senior orientation than it has by redesigning it to be more attractive to that group?
So we do have other product that's geared towards an active adult buyer, but the footprint of those homes does not make it a good fit on this site. I mean, these 3 lots are roughly we're under 4 acres, we're like 2 to 3 acres really. So unless you build up, a multi-story building, it really doesn't work on this property. So again, unless you build more of what's here, which again is not very popular, I think another age-targeted product just isn't feasible when you're dealing with such a small area of land. And these lots, again, are just roughly over like 2 acres in total.
Anything else, ma'am?
No, I'm concerned that these units are neither here nor there as far as who they appeal to and who they serve well. What are these little gray squares between the buildings? Are they trees that are just smaller? Is that what those are?
Yeah, they're purple on my screen. They would just be, again, this is just a pictorial conceptual drawing. So those would be, shade trees or ornamental trees.
And the ownership is strictly the footprint of the building. There's no private ownership of any of the green space. That's all
Correct.
Common?
Correct. And that's what really gives the management company the opportunity to maintain everything, to make sure that the site's always, snow is removed, the the landscaping looks good. You know, again, that's why it's a common area versus leaving maintenance up to individual unit owners.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
Adam, did you want to speak?
Yeah, I just, excuse me, I just had a couple of questions. As far as your sales velocity, what type of sales velocity were you looking at with this project? Like, realistically, how long before a sellout, and how were you planning? Is it a phased construction? Were you going to stack out one building or two buildings to sell off of to anticipate building out the rest of it? I'm curious about that.
Yeah, that's a great question. So we're actually hoping to sell at least 2 to 3 units a month. From a timing standpoint, we would hope to break ground this summer because it's we would obviously have to pursue entitlements, but since the infrastructure is already complete, we could get started quickly. We would likely start with building 1 and then work our way around the circle. And really what's fantastic about Horton is that we would start buildings without prior sales. So some builders, to your point, won't start a building until 50% of the units are purchased, but that's not how we operate. So we will start buildings and have units ready for people to move in, which really creates fantastic options for folks who are relocating, who are coming off of a lease, so their lease is up and they need some place to live. We will definitely have units that are move-in ready, but we will also still have some units in a construction phase where if someone wanted to maybe pick the color of the cabinets or the color of the countertops, we may be able to accommodate those kinds of requests. So really, with Horton starting buildings without sales, it does give us the opportunity to move through the community quickly. I would anticipate that we would get started going vertical this summer, and we would finish construction of the buildings in like spring of 2023. So really, it would be less than a 2-year window of construction disruption per se in this community, where I do feel like if the remaining senior condos would be built, I think the duration of construction would be substantially longer. So we would be in and out hopefully in roughly 2 years. Again, I don't have a crystal ball, but that's what we're projecting at this point.
Thank you. And I'm sorry, just Rebecca, if I could just ask one follow-up question with staff, if that's all right. For staff, just the question, this is really a function of putting an amendment in place to remove the senior portion of this, correct? Is that really just what we're looking at, correct?
Sorry, go ahead, Jane.
Well, I guess I would say that it would be to provide clarity in the PUD to make it clear which uses are allowed, and because right now the way that it's worded in the PUD is that the primary use is the senior dwelling units, and the secondary use is the multifamily unit. So I think the PUD amendment would attempt to bring some clarity as to say that those multifamily dwelling units are allowed, therefore this project could move forward.
Yeah, I think that's one component, and the second component is that we have a final PUD approval for this site that put the layout together. It was intended to have 3 more buildings, but it approved the elevations for the buildings, the building materials, the landscape plan, all of that. So any development of the site that's not complying with that approved PUD would require an amendment. So it's both the use and the site plan.
Got it. Thank you very much.
Rebecca?
And I think Horton would expect that too.
All right, thank you for that clarification. Rebecca?
I just was wondering, I feel like there are a lot of multifamily homes available, and I know there are the percentages that were in the table. So I guess I'm just wondering, what is differentiating this space from some of the other ones that sit vacant, like the riverbank, and I guess it seemed like there are a lot of limitations to this space for a family. So I don't know. I'm not exactly sure what my question is. I guess I'm just thinking, like, what's the selling point? I know you said location, but
So Rebecca, what do you think would be the highest and best use on this site?
Oh, I mean, I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm just looking at these buildings. I mean, I'm wondering how they're going to sell. You say you're thinking of selling 2 per month or 3 per month, and maybe that's realistic. But I also see in Geneva a lot of other multifamily situations that don't seem to be selling. So I'm just wondering what separates yours from some of these other places.
I mean, I do think that the resale market in Geneva is strong, and this product is highly desirable. Again, with it being attractive to all kinds of buyers. Again, and its location in the Randall Road corridor, adjacent to the hospital. Again, I could very easily picture people who are working at the hospital wanting to live in close proximity to where they work, or people who travel the Randall Road corridor. So, the home building market in Chicago has been strong recently. We're seeing people who are migrating out of the city. We are seeing people who are coming off the sidelines and no longer really wanting to rent. They're wanting to own something. And this is a really fantastic product. I actually lived in a row home when I just graduated college. I graduated and bought a row home, and it was fantastic. And I had friends that lived in the neighborhood. I had enough room for people to come visit. There's plenty of parking. It was fantastic. And I ultimately moved out of it when I started a family. I got married, I started a family, and I was looking for detached product to be able to have my kids in the yard, have the dog outside, where this product is really fantastic for individuals who even want low maintenance, right? I mean, they don't want to cut grass, they don't want to shovel snow. So, I mean, it's a highly desirable product. We're very, very successful with it. I mean, we sell over 700 homes in the Chicago market. So I like to think we're very good at what we do, and we know where we can be successful. And we think this is a project that can be a win-win for everybody.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. One more thing. John Mead, please.
Sure, thanks, Scott. Couple things. I kind of, going back to something Mim said earlier about focusing on an age-restricted product for this site, because that just feels like it might blend better with the existing use, even though they'd be separate associations. I'm wondering why this product, as you've designed it, could not sell as age-restricted. I agree with the comments that have been made that I think stacked flats might sell slowly. It might not be as attractive, but if you have townhomes for folks 55 and older, I think that sells at a much different pace than the existing product within this development. Just something to think about. There's no answer to that, but that's something for you guys to go back and noodle about. Another comment I was going to make is you're adding 52 units on top of 90, so it's about a 60% increase. And like it or not, I mean, just the fact of the matter is Stone Circle Drive is going to have more congestion and more points of conflict. I'm looking at, on another screen, the Google Maps of the site. We talked about the project to the north, that right now that's potentially unavailable. Oh, just, yeah, right. If you go to the last slide you had, that was a little bigger, right there. The northwest corner of Stone Circle where it curves, there is an opportunity, and I don't know if this works or not, with the city or with this development, but there's an opportunity for a potential second point of ingress and egress here that could alleviate some points of conflict, that could provide this many home units with not just one point of access for emergency vehicles and everything else that could be a problem for the development. There's an opportunity to maybe change the traffic flow a little bit that might ease some of the strain that has been identified in public comment and other comments tonight. So,
well, I mean, I'd say right now, this design was approved for 222 units.
I get it.
You know, city only required one point of access for that, whether it be for ingress and egress. So as approved, the city felt that it was acceptable for 222 units.
Yeah, but I would say to that, Danielle, that 222 units or whatever the amount was of seniors. And the traffic coming in and out of here is almost non-existent. And some of the letters that were received from the public, if you've got young professionals, there's going to be a lot more trips, daily trips, than there are today from these folks. There's almost no access after dark, ingress or egress. Frankly, a lot of folks that are in their 60s, they're just not driving at night. This is going to be a much higher traffic pattern than the 222. I would potentially argue that the 142 might be as much traffic as you'll get on a trip basis from the 222. So just something to think about. It wouldn't be adding a point of access at that northwest corner if it doesn't conflict with city's other traffic issues on Fisher Road. That's not that's not cost prohibitive by any means. So just again, something to think about. You're looking for feedback.
Thank you.
One final comment is, and there's nothing incorporated into this design. I see that, but our city has a stated desire to have an addition of some affordable housing added to the city. So if there's any thought been given or any thought that can occur to somehow incorporate some level of affordability within the 52 units so that you are accretive to our percentage of affordable units within our city, that would be appreciated by the commission, by the city, if that can be effectively done on this site.
Thank you.
All right. I think we need to move on to the public hearing. We've had some people waiting for a while. Comment, sorry. I always call it public hearing. It's a habit. Sorry. Public comment. Thank you, David.
So if there's anybody participating in the GoToMeeting webinar, if you would like to address the commission, please use the raise your hand feature.
So David, I have a quick question. Are Peter and I going to be involved, or are we just going to be listening at this point?
You're welcome to listen, and then you'll be given another opportunity to address the commission after the public
Okay,
comment.
at the end of all of the public comment.
Yes,
Right.
absolutely. Yeah,
Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and mute out. Thank you.
sure. All right, again, I mentioned, folks, please raise your hand if you want to be heard on the meeting, and also please identify yourself and your address before you talk.
Yeah, I do see a hand raised, so we can start with
Okay?
with this. Richard Flessner, we will unmute you, give it a couple seconds, and then you should be able to speak. Make sure you unmute yourself as well.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Very good. My name's Richard Flessner. I'm a resident at 2676 Stone Circle. I've been a resident in Geneva since 1981 and a resident of the crossings at Geneva since 2013. In looking over the conceptual review, first there's just a couple of minor issues, but it raised concerns to me about the diligence in its preparation. It made reference to a pool in our common area, which does not exist. Also, the address given in your presentation is the one for my building, 2676, and it's not the same as the one on the agenda. Just minor issues, but it concerns me about the diligence put into this. The main issue has to do with the proposed shared use of Stone Circle. In my discussions with fellow residents, I've not found anyone who believes that that's a good idea. And I suggest that you need a proposal that has its own access and road to keep it separate from our facility. And you've said that if you have to do that, it's a no gain type situation. Well, so be it. But you're not likely to get residents' approval to use the shared access. If you do find a way to have a proposal for a different access, you'll of course have to adjust your number of units because you'll lose more square footage due to the roads, and you'll also lose the parking that's on Stone Circle. So you'll have to provide additional parking to your facilities. So the density would probably be lowered. I heard you make reference to the slow sales here. You have to recognize that we were coming out of that, situation in 2008. Recently, in my building alone, in 2676, we've turned over four units in the last year. So I don't think your numbers are accurate. Yes, there's one that's for sale currently, and I know they're currently showing it to people. But they've been selling almost as fast as they come on the market. There's a lot of interest in Crossings at Geneva because it's a nice, serene, quiet senior facility. And we don't want to see the nature of that changed. In fact, if you put the multifamily housings in there, that'll change the nature of the community and impact our ability to sell our units when we want to. Also, to clarify, none of the units can be rented. And of course, we would be worried about rental of any of the multifamily places to Airbnbs and such, since you have no control over what's going to happen. In the Geneva comprehensive plan, you talk about wanting both multifamily and senior use housing, and that it would be accommodated. And in this proposal, you're given preference to multifamily dwellings and eliminating the opportunity for senior family, which seems prejudicial to the seniors. The seniors are tending to move out of their permanent homes and into condos, townhomes, etc. And I think your characterization of the sales is inaccurate. Again, there's several items to be considered. Noise abatement is an issue coming from multifamilies. I haven't heard anything about how your construction materials, your administration controls, or any kind of barriers for noise abatement would be installed. Of course, traffic impact is an issue. School impact on the local schools, there's no discussion of that. And of course, in the real estate postings, they talk about the noise level of areas in the homes, and the closer you get to Randall, the noisier the ratings are. And with the addition of multifamily, that's likely to impact the noise rating for our units, and that also could impact the value. So there's a number of issues that I think are absent from your proposal. And of course, the major one is your assumption that you're going to get approval to use Stone Circle, which again, based on my discussions with the residents, I've not found a single person in favor of that. So thank you to the commission for listening.
Thank you for your comments. David, anyone?
Yes, we do have another hand raised. We did. Yes, Mr. John Kemble, we will unmute you. Give it a second, then you should be able to speak. Make sure you unmute yourself as well. Okay, you should be good to go, John.
Thank you and good evening. I'm John Kemble. I'm the president of the Board of Crossings at Geneva Condominium Association, a 90-unit senior living facility. On November 16th, I was contacted by Ms. Dash with the news that D.R. Horton had a contract to purchase lots 2, 3, and 4 of the parcel that encompasses Crossings. Let me say that the parcel contains a total of 6 lots. Lot 1 is what was the first building built at 2671 Stone Circle. Lot 5 contains 2 buildings, 2676 and 2692 Stone Circle, as well as 2684, the clubhouse. Lot 2, 3, and 4 are the available lots for building, and lot 6 is all the other land. The front lawn, Stone Circle, the courtyard, and small parcels of land around each of the building lots, including on the back side, the east side of the building lots. Building lots are actually 34 feet in from the boundary of the property. Ms. Dash sent details of the proposal to board members, and the board met with her on December 2nd, where we exchanged initial concerns. I wrote a communication to the owners of the units explaining the project and asked for their opinion. So far, of the 90 owners, over 80 owners have responded, overwhelmingly in the negative. 3 major concerns were stated over and over again. Senior housing was a primary reason for buying. Safety issues with traffic on Stone Circle, a private street deeded to the association by the developer some years ago and is therefore owned by the association, and the loss of value of property due to different style buildings. Owners have been aware that the original developer was not going to build out the property as previously envisioned for some time, and the lots were for sale. Now let me state that the 2 ordinances are involved in this lot. In 1976, the Fisher Master Farm ordinance was approved, and within that, all the 9 neighborhoods were described, including neighborhood 9, this parcel, which was envisioned primarily for senior housing, was a secondary multifamily use available. But to get our property built in 2003, a new PUD was approved, laying out the present parcels, the present 6 parcels. That PUD was under Ordinance 2003-48. So finding out that now the time has expired, that some of the parcel could be changed to multifamily dwelling unit was an unwelcome surprise. Let me just foretell the kind of change with these changes, what might happen. This is a personal observation. Last week, a gaggle of geese left the pond by the FAA site across the Fisher Farm, and they strolled casually across Fisher Drive. A line of cars developed, stopped behind them, waited patiently for those geese to cross over to the recently harvested cornfield that's in the lot just to the north boundary of the parcel we're talking about. It reminded me of the daily sight as I look out my 2nd-story kitchen window of Barbara and Arlene and Marianne, 3 owners at the crossing, walking together in the middle of Stone Circle. They were properly distanced for COVID, and because of age and infirmity, 2 of them used canes. My thought for the future is how would a young professional in a hurry to work react to such an encounter? My point is, cultures will clash. Our board has contracted our attorney, and we will resist the change if it moves forward. I ask, though, that the commission, if possible, reject this proposal now. Thank you.
All right, thank you for your comments. Any other people wishing to speak should definitely raise their hand at this time so you can be recognized.
I do not see any additional hands raised. If we want to give it just a few seconds.
Yes, we will give you a little bit more time. If you've been watching and you wish to comment, please raise your hand so you can be recognized and speak.
I do now. Yes, we have Barbara Anderson has raised her hand. So Barbara, I will unmute you, and then you will need to unmute yourself.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You know, my name is Barbara Anderson, and I live at 2671 Stone Circle. I am one of the original owners. I moved into my unit in 2007. I'm the secretary on the board of directors for the Crossings of Geneva. And we're composed of 5 members. You just met John, who is our president. We have Perry Earhart, our treasurer, Jim Donahue, our interior commissioner, Ron Pratcher, our exterior commissioner. And the board represents the homeowners up for the 90 units composing Crossings at Geneva. And it was December 5th that we first informed the other owners of D.R. Horton's proposal. Now, this is not a lot of time. You know, for us, I didn't realize this was going to be a court case tonight. I am so glad that Rich came forward and mentioned these issues. We were really not prepared to do this. We should have had our attorney here. This is like a court case, you know, to just express our desires. And the unanimous number of homeowners expressed the concern of wanting to keep the remainder of the undeveloped lots as a senior community. Danielle kept saying that our units weren't selling, and that's the reason why there's no need for senior housing. Remember what Rich said. We have, in fact, 4 in his building and 3 in another building sold in the last 6 months. There are people waiting to get into our project. We were a little known secret to seniors looking for affordable housing. The highest unit in our development when these things went up back in, say, 2005 was $320,000. The recession brought our prices way down. The reason being is when the seniors pass away, the heirs just want to get rid of them. So therefore, our values were knocked down because of the recession, first of all, and second, because the heirs give them away. We have been trying to work with our residents to help them understand and explain to their heirs now, don't give them away. We have a wonderful value proposition here. Our condos are built with such quality. I would invite every one of the people on this planning commission to come and tour the property. It is quality construction, all brick. Anyways, I really don't want to say too much more, except that we were really not well prepared for this meeting, and I believe Daniel gave a wonderful sales proposition, you know, for all of you to understand why they should build here. I would like you to give us the opportunity to sell our value proposition as to not allow this development to take place. And that is what I am going to ask. Right now, we are engaging an attorney, And we are gathering information. But again, I look forward to the opportunity to present to this commission why this development should not be built. And we really touched on it tonight. I really appreciate your time and listening to my impassioned speech here. And I look forward to making further presentations along with an engaged attorney at some point in time. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you for your comments. I just would like to mention that we're just at the very, very initial stages here. This is just a courtesy review. If it does decide to move forward, if developers do decide to move forward with this project, it will go through a full public hearing process and notification, so you'll have ample opportunity to comment. Anyone else wishing to speak, please raise your hand so you can be recognized.
I do not see any additional hands raised, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. I think we're getting ready to close the public comment.
Hey, Scott.
John, yes.
Question, Mr. Kimball, John Kimball mentioned something about Lot 6, and I believe that's one of the lots that is owned by the existing senior living facility. The way he described it, and if he's available and he can answer this, it sounded as though Lot 6 was the front yard along Fisher, but it also potentially wraps the outer border of the entire development, 24 to 35, 38 and a half feet wide all the way around. So access to any of these lots would have to be over, even a construction access have to be over the condo's property, if that's the way that is. I'm just curious, Lot 6, if you look at the crossings at Geneva final plat of subdivision, it looks like it's the front yard, but the way you described it, it seems to ring, and if you look at the legend, the acreage summary, it's 235,000 square feet versus by far the biggest parcel on the subject, which leads me to believe that it does ring the whole development, which could complicate things as far as working together, but just want to know if that was the case.
This is David DeGroot. That's correct, John. Lot 6 is basically everything except for the building pad footprints.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, stone circle, the perimeter of the property, everything between the building and building pads.
So
all right.
All the common
That
areas.
helps. I didn't pick that up on initial review. Thanks.
Okay, I don't think we're going to have any more public comment. Nobody's.
I'll check one more time, sir. No, I do not see any
All right,
hands raised.
so we'll hear a summation from the applicant if they wish to sum up their submission and respond to any questions or concerns that were raised from the public.
So I will do that, Peter Bezos. We appreciate your time this evening. As David quite correctly pointed out, this would be just the beginning of a process, a concept review to get your comments as we've heard tonight. And if we decide to go forward, obviously we'll be in further touch with the representatives of the Senior Condominium Association. We continue to believe this is a good use for this land and it would not be detracting the seniors, but in any event, we appreciate your time and thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you, Peter. Just one quick comment. So, yeah, I mirror Peter's comments as well, but again, just want to thank everyone for their time this evening. Again, this is an excellent venue for us to start to get some initial feedback from the commissioners. Obviously, we've been working with staff, behind the scenes. But, again, we are very excited about the opportunity to work in the city of Geneva. If this site isn't, if you folks don't feel that what we're proposing here is the highest and best use, I would hope that we could continue working to find another site in Geneva where we could work in town. Again, we appreciate the opportunity, and not only for this community, but hopefully future communities down the line.
All right, thank you very much. Appreciate your time presenting, and hopefully we gave you some good feedback to move forward on this, and thank you again for your time. All right.
Night.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you, Peter. All right, so that's
Thanks.
all the items we have for concept reviews. Any other business?
We want to touch on existing projects.
Yeah.
All right. Commission, so we do have a couple applications that we just want to touch on that are being processed right now, just to give you a quick update. So we did get a second, I guess a revised application from the Verizon Tower, so staff is looking over that information right now. We do not anticipate a public hearing anytime in the near future. And then moving on to Emma's Landing, there is another round of comments that we're asking staff just to review the another recent submission. So we're anticipating perhaps a possible public hearing in January. So that's just something to keep in mind. We also have an application for a parking lot expansion, at the Malone Funeral Home. They're applying for a special use to expand their existing parking lot, and then they also have a couple of variations for the commission and council to consider as well. And then we also have an annexation and rezoning request for a semi-truck repair facility, which is actually located just south of where the gas station and car wash was being proposed this evening, that concept review. So this semi-truck repair facility will be located just south of there on the northwest corner of Reed Road and Old Kirk Road. They have submitted an application. Staff is looking through their application for the first round of comments. So that will be coming down the line as well over the next month or so. I believe that is all the projects. Do we want to touch on anything else?
I could provide maybe one or two other updates. The 609 South 3rd Street, the former Duke and Lee's, the mixed-use building that was recommended for approval by the commission and ultimately approved by the council. They have closed on that property. They are their permit application is under review now by the building division. I believe they're on their second set of review comments, so that project is moving forward, and looks like they'll be gearing up for a spring. And then hopefully everybody has seen that the Duncan has made some progress. They are very close to their final inspection, so we're all very excited to see that coming to a close.
They're hiring.
Yeah, I saw a hire sign up there,
Yes.
so that means it's close.
Yeah.
All right, that's good news. Is that truck business, is that near the new one that they just opened up? But there was a proposal for like a truck maintenance facility there in the same vicinity. This is not related to that one, it's a new application.
No, that was a concept review. The
Oh, it was
commission-
a concept
yeah,
review,
the
so they're
commission
actually
considered
moving
that
forward?
maybe last summer. It's been a while for them to get the formal application
So
together.
that's the same site?
Same site,
It's
yes.
just moving to a formal submission now?
It's cleared at this point. I drove it today.
Yeah, that's why I thought it was in there, because I'd seen it had been cleared, yeah. Okay, all right, good. So that clarifies that.
David, do you know what's happening with Cooper's Landing? It hasn't had any activity for an awful long time.
Cooper Woods, the subdivision on South.
Cooper
South
Woods, that's it, right.
No, I mean, just that the lots aren't moving right now. So it's been inactive, just because they haven't been able to get lots sold.
Right. I think the price point is materially higher than when we first
Yeah.
saw that. They had anticipated about 600,000 for homes. They're approximately 900 to $1.1 million, I think. So
Right, I saw that and it seemed like it was overpriced, but
Yeah.
I just wondered if anything had
It certainly
changed with
wasn't
it.
priced as they had indicated it was likely to be when they brought it forth, right? So,
Right.
Okay. All right, so I think we're good. Celeste, are we good? We got everything?
We do. I'm good. I'm just waiting for Mim.
Move to adjourn.
Wait a second,
Enjoy your
David,
evening.
David has one more thing. I knew there was something.
hey, good to see all your
knew
faces,
it.
by the way.
I knew there was
Okay, and I got Rita seconding that. Thank you.
I just wanted to say if there's any feedback from the meeting tonight, using this platform, if it's not now, if you want to email Chayton or myself or give us a call, ways that we can improve this. It's obviously our first time, and I'm glad it was concept reviews that we got to experiment with.
Right.
Absolutely.
I have some thoughts too, that we'll try to make some changes for the next meeting, but anything that you have, just reach out to us and let us know.
Yeah, I want to
Great.
thank staff. They did a very good job. It went smoothly, I thought, pretty well. So,
Yeah.
good dry
Thank
run
you.
with the concept reviews.
All right, thank you, everybody.
All right, Mim?
Thanks. Good night, all.
Good night.
Night.